we're going to show you 8 different ways to write Mr. and Mrs. So whether you're addressing envelopes or you're making a sign for someone's wedding or your own wedding, you'll know 8 different ways to write it. So we give you 3 worksheets. The first 2 contain all different 8 ways to write it in big brush pens, starting with the more modern and simple version, and then going to the more elegant and complicated versions. And then there's also a third page that includes all 8, and we have them just twice, so this column is the same as this column. And this is for smaller pens, so if you have a small tip brush pen, or if you're using pointed pen, this is what you can use. So we'll go ahead and get started. I'll do the first 4 using the larger worksheets, and then I'll do the last 4 using the smaller ones just to show you what they look like. Okay? So starting with the first one, I'm using a Tombow dual brush pen. You can use any large tip brush pen. We're just going to start, and anywhere that we have a thin stroke, we're going to be coming up, and anywhere that you have a thick stroke, you're coming down. You can feel free to lift your pen as many times as you need while you're going through these. So these 2 lowercase ones would be great for if you have more of a modern or casual setting. Okay. So now we're going to move into ones that start with capital M's, but these are still pretty modern looking M's. You can also see the difference in the ampersand, so plus sign is a lot more casual than this fancier ampersand. Okay. So then this is the last one on the page that we'll use the large tip brush pens. So this size of letters would also work well if you are painting a sign and you're using a paintbrush. You could do it in this bigger size. So just go really slowly when you're tracing these. It'll turn out better if you take your time and go slowly. Okay, so we are done with the first 4. Now the second 4 we have for you on this big page, but we're going to skip to this page. So we just did these in the large pens. Let's move on to, now we're getting a little bit fancier. Okay. Let's zoom in a little. Okay, so for these, I'm going to be using a small tip brush pen. This is the Tombow Fudenosuke, and you could use this, or you can use like the Pentel Sign Touch Pen with a brush tip. You could do pointed pen in this size, but you can just see how much smaller this is than what we were just working on. So the way that we recommend that you use these worksheets is you can trace all of them like I'm doing and just get a feel for different ways to write these words. And then you can take a look and pick which one's your favorite, or maybe you have two that you really like. You can kind of combine them or use both of them somehow, and then just continue practicing your favorite over and over until you've got the hang of it. And then whenever you're doing your final piece, if it's a sign, then I would recommend scaling it up to whatever size you need on the sign. So if you were using a sign where you needed the words to be even bigger than this, then you could practice these words on a bigger piece of paper and make them bigger until you've got the hang of it. So the way that I'm getting these thick lines and thin lines, can you see the difference between the thick lines and the thin lines? All of my thick lines are coming down and I'm adding more pressure on the pen. This is a flexible pen. And then for the thin lines, it's the opposite. Okay, so these last two are a little bit complicated, so I'm gonna go a little bit slower to show you exactly how to draw these. But we're actually gonna start this M down here and come down and up. And now I'm going to come back down. And when I come back up, I'm going to do this fancy little flourish right here. Like that. Okay. Okay. And then for this, you can do this two ways. You could either start here and come up and around, or you could start at the top right here, come down like this, and then finish this off by going this way, like that. Okay, and then you could start on either side for this. I like to start up here for that style. Okay, and then this M is the same as this. That's the nice thing about the words Mr. and Mrs. Really, you're only writing the word Mr. twice and then adding an S on the end of it. So as long as you've got the MR style down, then you just do that twice. You could make it different if you wanted, but for most of these, they look the same. Okay, and last but not least, this one is very fancy. So we're going to start this one up here, and the reason I can tell where I'm starting is because remember our thick strokes are coming down, so I know that this is a thick stroke, so I'm going to have to come down. If I started over here, I would end up going up and it wouldn't work. Okay, so we'll come down, and if you need to stop in the middle, you can, like this. And don't be afraid to touch up your lines if they're a little bit shaky. Okay, and then I'm going to start back up here, come down and up, finish it off with this flourish. Okay, so I would only use this style if you're doing something that's really elegant or formal, just because it's so ornate. And again, you can mix and match different styles. So if there's an ampersand that you really like from one of these, you could use it with the Mr. and Mrs. of another. Or if you really like the MR of one and the S of the other, you could switch those out. So it's really up to you. These are just starting point ideas for you. And we tried to give you as many different styles as we could think of. Okay, so there are all 8 styles. Hopefully that helped. Actually seeing someone trace it can help you understand where you should be starting each letter and where you should add the thick and the thin strokes. So happy lettering, and if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. We'd love to see your work if you tag us on Instagram or Facebook at Loveleigh Loops.